All right. Thank you, Heather. And next up is Cherie Coleman. Thank you so much for being here with me today. It's awesome to see your smiling face.
Likewise, Bernadette. Thanks for having me.
So you are president of the Illinois Diversity Council, and I'm sure you have seen a thing or two. How long have you been president of the ILDC?
I've been president, I think, for 6 years, and next year we're celebrating our 10th anniversary. And I was with the council at its inception, so I'm claiming 10 years.
Congratulations. That's a huge accomplishment. That's a huge accomplishment. So I am sure you have seen a lot. You've seen quite the evolution of organizations on this DEI journey. And I'm just sort of curious, what's been your sort of like bird's eye view on all of this? Because you support a lot of different companies in this work, right?
Yes, yes. And actually, this year has really been pivotal in terms of our onboarding of new corporate partners. And so it looks like the word is out, Bernadette, that this is a legitimate, thing.
Thank goodness, right? And from my perspective, better late than never.
Yes, 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 and yes.
So what are some of the things that are really exciting you and inspiring you about the work these days?
What's inspiring me is that the bar has been raised from just awareness to activism. And I know we've all heard the term the great resignation. I want to put a word in front of that and reframe it a little bit to the great reset and resignation if necessary. So one shift that I've seen is that associates are really leveraging and driving their power within organizations. The level of expectations are heightened. And so the organizations identifying that, associates are the greatest commodity, their human capital, they are listening and they are responding accordingly. And so I think in years past, we thought that these, big conglomerate organizations had the power, but really it's the associates. And I'm pleased that, the leaders are listening.
I agree. I mean, that it's pretty cool. It's been kind of a grassroots thing. I mean, it's been previously sort of leader led for the companies that had the leaders that actually cared and had some sort of personal investment in this. And now it's everyone else who's really putting on the pressure and demanding this as sort of a baseline standard, demanding inclusion as a standard. And that's inspiring to me as well, for sure.
Absolutely, I would agree. I think also in years past, and just in terms of the relationship between associate and organization, the organization kind of set the tone for the rules and how you're going to, function, operate within a certain culture. And I think now that has even shifted. That organizations are really recognizing not only to attain but also retain the highest performing talent is that they have to bring their A game. And associates candidates are even getting more savvy and smarter about interviewing companies when they're interested. And so the just like the housing market, the employment market is hot, and you have to up your game in order to get the best talent within your organization.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I love that because it's this external pressure. I mean, hopefully it leads to authentic change, right? I mean, hopefully that, whatever the companies are doing to attract underrepresented talent in particular, hopefully what they're doing is authentic and they're not just sort of checking some boxes. But I believe that, job seekers are smart enough to know better as well, right?
They are.
They can see through.
Yeah, we're learning more and more how small this world is. And so just between just relationship building, and doing research, because, the information is really out there in terms of what organizations DE&I footprint looks like. But the value of a human referral is huge. It's huge. And it's plentiful. It's plentiful.
Absolutely. I mean, and so referrals to work at this at that particular company,
Yeah,
right?
so I mean, if you know, between the theory of 6 degrees of separation, if you don't know somebody, somebody that you know knows somebody that has worked there, that has had an experience with that organization, and so at some point you'll be able to have a connectivity to a live human person that can give you the inside scoop.
Absolutely. I mean, and of course, everyone's writing on Glassdoor too.
Yes,
So,
yes,
one way or another, you kind of have a barometer of what an organization's culture really looks like. And I think that's it. It kind of democratizes things, right?
yes.
That's really impressive. So it's inspiring to me as well. So within the context of the Illinois Diversity Council, you're supporting organizations at different levels of their DEI journey. A lot of it, what you're doing is educational content. Are you seeing companies and organizations really committing to systems change beyond just training? I mean, I think training is incredibly important, and it's the bulk of what I do.
Mhm.
But what I do also believe is that, there's a lot of room for human error and we're all going to make mistakes. And so change has got to go beyond just training, which is one of the reasons I wrote the book, because it's full of policy changes
Yeah.
that sort of remove some of the human error component. But if we actually change the policies so the default is inclusion, it sort of levels up the standards for everyone else, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, yeah, the education piece is a part of our business model and our value proposition that we offer to our corporate partners. But it's not a standalone. We dive deep into strategy and just organizational culture. A large part of my onboarding process with the corporate partners talks about the synergy with integrating DE&I into the culture that impacts collaboration, innovation, profitability. Everybody wants to talk about the bottom line, but absolutely the sustainability. And so there is no longer this approach of checks in the boxes or initiatives. This is a really intentional culture shift that is changing the face and the feel and the look and the smell of the organization.
I mean, you've been in corporate for a really long time, so you've sort of had a foot in both worlds, both on
Mhm.
the ILDC and also intern, working for corporate yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, corporate before you joined ILDC. So what is it that how does it kind of feel to be in both worlds?
It's a little awkward sometimes. And, I've had to continuously nudge myself to make sure that I maintain my authenticity. Because wearing two different hats, sometimes you show up a little different, but it's been really comforting and really grounding just to make sure I'm keeping back to basics, just constantly reminding myself, Cherie, who are you? What's important to you? So that I don't, compromise my values. But
Absolutely.
I'm constantly evolving into one version of myself that is sustainable in all rooms, in front of all people, and addressing all topics.
I mean, isn't that the journey we hopefully are all on, right? Is
Yes,
is
yes,
that evolutionary journey. Well, I've really appreciated you since we first connected a few years ago. You've always had my back. You've offered me opportunities to speak to the group, and it's been and offered me visibility as I was growing my business. You were an awesome endorser of the book and supporter, and I just wanted to let you know how grateful I am to have you in my life, and how I appreciate all of the ways that you've just had my back. So thank you.
yeah. You're very welcome. It's been my pleasure, and I just the relationship that we've had has been reciprocal, and so I just appreciate. I think when I think about people that are in this space, Bernadette is at the top of the list in terms of someone you should know. So it's been absolutely my pleasure. I've been rooting for you in front of the camera, on social media, and in our one-on-one conversations, and I'm so very happy for you and so proud of what you have to offer.
Thank you so much, Cherie. I appreciate you. I'm grateful for you showing up today and for this conversation and for all you do to continue this conversation, in internally in your work and also with the ILDC. So thank you. I'm going to give you the rest of your afternoon back and invite my next guest up. So thank you again so much.
Thank you.